Hello, my dear students of 4th primary. Now, one of the most important characteristics of thinking like mathematicians is using our previous knowledge. We have previously studied the place value. درسنا قبل كده place value وتعلمنا relation to multiplication by 10 100 و 1000. We have also practiced the commutative property, associative property, and the distributive property. How can we use our understanding of these concepts to solve multiplication problems? And that's what we are going to explore in lesson 2 of concept 1, titled the distributive property. We will also learn كمان هنتعلم how to use the area model to multiply a one-digit number by a whole number with up to 4 digits. How to explain the distributive property of multiplication and how to apply ازاي نطبق كل ده to solve the multiplication problems. First, we will use our understanding of the place value lessons and how we can decompose a number as we have done before with the counting up strategy to solve the subtraction problems. And now in Access part on page 265, I want you to read and understand well what are we required to do. And now I'll give you some time to answer problems number 1 and 2, and then we will discuss the answers all together. Now let's answer the problems together. Let's see. And now these problems are talking about decomposing numbers with an unknown number that we have to find. Okay, let's see it all together. Type. Now in problem number 1, here's problem number 1. We will look at the known numbers. Numbers اللي عندي اللي أنا عارفاها هي إيه. First, in order to find the unknown 1, we have the known number اللي هي 6, right? هو already كاتبها لي. وإيه كمان in the ones place. الفاليو بتاعها 6. وكمان عندي 5 in the 100 place, right? يبقى الفاليو بتاعها 500. So, the value of 3 is what? Yes, the value of 3 is missing. And because 3 is in the 10th place, أنا عندي هنا أهو ones و 10th و 100. 3 in the 10th place يبقى الفاليو بتاعها إيه؟ Yes, الفاليو بتاعها 30. يبقى read it كده 536 equals to 500 plus 30 plus 6. Okay, and now let's move to problem number 2. Problem number 2, I will cross out 5, 7, and 2. Why? Because their values are known. Okay? Oh, 200 plus 70 plus 5. طيب, missing number is what? missing number أهو زي ما احنا شايفين is 1. هو ال 1 ده في which place? The 1 is in the 1000th place. يبقى الفاليو بتاعه إيه؟ Yes, of course, 1000. يبقى look here, 1275 equals 1000 plus 200 plus 70 plus 5. In the same way, we will solve problem number 3. We will cross out 6 and 4 and write the value of 2, right? أهو 6 و 4 and write the value of 2. هي ال 2 دي الفاليو بتاعها what? Yes, ال 2 in the 100 place يبقى equals to 200. This is 264. And now, in problem number 4, the 6 is in the 100 place. مش 6 أهي 100 place. This is ones, tens, 100, and 1000. 6 is in the 100 place. So, what is the value of 6? It will be 600. Right? يبقى 7625. So, the 6 is 600. The same is true for problem number 5. Where the answer is what? طيب, هنا أنا عندي 357 equals 50 plus 7 plus what? Of course, 300. ليه؟ لأن ال 3 is in the 100 place. And now we can move to the first part in the build on page 265 in your school book. We will use the distributive property and the area model to solve the following multiplication problems. And this is the build part as you see. Can any one of you think of a word we could use similar to distribute? Yes, you could say share. To give shares of something into more than one part. Let's see how we can do this. Let's move to problem number 1. Problem number 1, we will multiply 249 times 5. طيب, أول حاجة هعملها إيه؟ Yes, I will decompose number 249. يبقى we will start decomposing the number 249 to represent the value of each digit. يبقى 249 هعمل لها decomposition هتبقى إيه؟ Yes, هتبقى 200 plus 40 plus 9. أنا كده عملت لها decomposition. Then we'll draw the area model. Okay, تعالوا نرسم ال area model بتاعي. Like this. طيب, and then I am sure you have noticed that I am drawing the model divided into 3 sections. هعمله divided into 3 sections. Okay, because 249 made up of 3 digits. 249. Then we'll distribute the multiplication by multiplying 5 times 200. Right? يبقى هعمل 5 times 200. يبقى ال first part ده 200 وبعدين 40 وبعدين 9 times 5. يبقى أول حاجة هعملها 5 times 200. بعدين هعمل إيه؟ Yes, plus 40 times 5 plus 5 times 9. يبقى عملت مرة 5 times 200 مرة 5 times 40 مرة 5 times 9. Okay, so 5 times 200 equals what? Equals 1000. تعالوا نكتب هنا the answer 1000 plus what? 40 times 5 equals what? 200. Right? Plus 5 times 9 equals what? 45. And now let's add all these numbers to get the final answer. So the answer will be 1245, and this is my answer. Okay? Type. Now you can solve problems number 2 and 3 in the same way. And now let's solve problem number 4 all together. Here, as you see, problem number 4. This is problem number 4. He wants me to multiply 2391 times 8. As we have done before, we will decompose the big number اللي هو 2391. هعمله ازاي؟ هعمله 2000 plus 300 plus 90 plus 1, right? طيب وبعدين I will distribute the multiplication. So I will multiply each number by 8. هعمل مرة 8 times 2000 ومرة 8 times 300 مرة 8 times 90 مرة 8 times 1. Okay, تعال نكتبها كده. يبقى 2000 times 8 plus 300 times 8 plus 90 times 8 plus 8 times 1. Okay, so 2000 times 8 equals what? Yes, 16,000. Plus 300 times 8 equals what? Of course, 2,400. Plus 90 times 8 equals what? 720. مش 9 times 8, 72, and then put the 0 plus 8. And then I will add all these numbers to get the result, which is 19,128, and this is my final answer. ده معناه إن 2,391 times 8 gives me 19,128. And now let's move to the second part in the build on page 266, and let's solve it all together on the board. دلوقتي I have 4 problems. محتاجة إن أنا أستخدم النمبرز والسيمبلز to solve these problems. We can use the area model to help us if necessary. لو محتاجين نرسم ال area model, you can solve it or you can draw it. طيب تعالوا نشوف in problem number 1. We will multiply 32 times 7. تعالوا نكتبها كده مع بعض. 32 times 7 equals what? طيب أول حاجة هعملها إيه؟ Yes, 32 times 7 it will be what? I will decompose 32 ل 30 and 2. يبقى هعمل 7 times 30 و 7 times 2. أول حاجة هعملها 30 times 7 plus 2 times 7. Why? عشان ال 30 قسمتها ل 32 قسمتها ل 30 plus 2. مرة عملت 7 times 30 مرة عملت 7 times 2. Okay, so who can tell me 30 times 7 equals what? Of course, 210. Plus 2 times 7 equals what? Equals 14. أنا محتاجة دلوقتي أعمل 210 plus 14. 210 plus 14 equals 224, and this is my answer. That means in 32 times 10 equals 224. Now you can solve problem number 2 in the same way, or you can use the area model if you want. Here we will solve problem number 3 all together. Problem number 3, we're asked to multiply 7 times 723. تعالوا نكتبها. 7 times 723 equals what? Yes, I will first decompose this number into 723, right? وبعدين هعمل 7 times 700, 7 times 27 times 3. Let's write it. But here I have 7 times 700 plus 7 times 20 plus 7 times 3. طيب تعالوا نحل بقى كل واحدة لوحدها and then I will add them all together. So 7 times 700 equals what? 7 times 7, 49, and put the 2 zeros, plus 7 times 2 equals what? Of course 14, and then put the 0 here, and 7 times 3 equals 21. When I add these three numbers, my answer is 5061, and this is my answer. It means that 7 times 723 equals 5061. Now in problem number 4, let's write problem number 4 all together. Type. Let's see problem number 4. Okay, and now in problem number 4, I will multiply 1673 times 8. تعالوا نكتبها. 1673 times 8. طيب هعمل ايه؟ I will distribute 8 to the values of the second number. يعني مرة هعمل 8 times 1000, مرة 8 times 600, مرة 8 times 70, ومرة 8 times 3. Let's write it. يبقى 8 times 1000 plus 8 times 600 plus 8 times 70 plus 8 times 3. Okay? Then what should I do? I will solve each part alone and then add all the numbers. 8 times 1000 equals 8000, of course. Then I will multiply 6 or 8 times 600 equals what? 4800. Okay, 6 times 8, 48. Plus 8 times 70. 8 times 70 equals what? 560, right? Plus 8 times 3 equals what? Of course, 24. And then, what is the next step? The next step, I will add all these numbers. So, when I add all these numbers, the answer will be 3384, and this is my answer. It means 1673 times 8 gives me 13,384. And now after we have finished practice solving problems of multiplying a digit number by a whole number with up to 4 digits using 2 methods, area model and using the numbers and symbols, now we need to check our understanding and solve the problems in Connect part on page 267 in your school book. Let's see it all together. And here in the Connect part, as you see, type. You can solve with any method you want. Here a city bus is 1,280 centimeters long. What is the length of 3 city buses? Now I will give you some time and the chance to solve it by your own way. When we get back, we will see how it is solved. And now let's solve it all together. Here I have 1,280 centimeters. You want to know what is the length of 3 city buses. هعمل ايه؟ I will multiply the two numbers. يبقى بعمل 1,280 times 3. طيب هعملها ازاي؟ I will distribute 3 with the values of the second number. هعمل مرة 3 times 1000, مرة 3 times 200, مرة 3 times 80, ومرة 3 times 0. Let's write it. يبقى 1000 times 3 plus 200 times 3 plus 80 times 3 plus 0 times 3, which is 0. Type 1000 times 3, of course, equals 3000 plus 200 times 3, 600 plus 80 times 3 equals 240. Okay, so I will not write the 0. when I add all these numbers, 3,600 plus 240, the answer will be what? The answer will be 3,840. And this means what? This means in 1,280 times 3 equals 3,840. And now in the practice part in your school book on page 267 on the same page and 668, there are some practice problems. We will solve them using the area model to apply what we have learned. Let's solve some of them. And now I am sure you can solve the rest. Okay? Now let's start with problem number 1. Problem number 1 هو عايزني أعمل إيه؟ عايزني أعمل 78 times 4. So how can I multiply 78 times 4? Yes, first I will decompose 78 ل 70 plus 8. Right? هقسمها 70 plus 8. وبعدين هعمل إيه؟ I will draw a model as you can see here. هرسم الموديل بتاعي. This is 4 and this is 70 plus 8. Right? Okay, so what should I do next? Yes, هعمل مرة 4 times 70 ومرة 4 times 8. Let's write it. يبقى 70 times 4 plus 8 times 4. Okay, 70 times 4 equals what? Of course, 280. Plus 8 times 4 equals what? 32. So when I add these two numbers, the answer is 312. That means 78 times 4 equals to 312. And now let's move to problem number 4. Here, as we see, problem number 4. He's asking me 7 times 206 equals what? Yes, أول حاجة هعملها I will decompose 206. هعملها إزاي؟ هعملها 200 plus 0 plus 6. Right? هقسمها 200 plus 0 plus 6. وبعدين هعمل إيه؟ I will use the distributive property of multiplication. To do what? To multiply the following numbers. هعمل 7 مرة times 200, 7 times 0, 7 times 6. تعالوا نعملها مع بعض. But here I have 200 times 7 plus 0 times 7, which is 0, plus 7 times 6 or 6 times 7, the same. تعالوا بقى نحل each number alone. 200 times 7 equals what? I know 2 times 7, 14, and put the 2 zeros, plus 0, I will not write it. Then 7 times 6 equals what? Equals 42. So when I add these two numbers, the answer is 1,442, and this is my final answer. And now let's go to problem number 6. Problem number 6 here, you can solve it alone. Sorry, problem number 5, you can solve it alone. Now let's move to problem number 6. طيب هو عايز ايه في problem number 6? He wants me to multiply 8 times 4,943. What should I do? Yes, the same steps. I will decompose 4,943 into 4,943. بعدين هعمل ايه؟ I will multiply 8 by the values of the second number. تعالوا نعملها. يبقى عندي 4,000 times 8. Okay, this is the value of the first number. بعدين plus 900 times 8 plus what? Yes, 40 times 8 and the last digit 3 times 8. I will solve each number alone. Here 4,000 times 8 equals what? Yes, I know 4 times 8 equals 32 and put the zeros as it is. Okay, 900 times 8. Here 9 times 8 equals what? 72. And put the zeros as it is. Plus 40 times 8. Here 4 times 8 equals what? 32. Put the 0 as it is. And the last number, 3 times 8 equals what? Equals 24. So the last step, I will add these four numbers. When I add them, my answer is 39,544. That means what? That means in 8 times 4,943 equals 39,544. And now after we have finished the practice part, we have achieved the targets of today's lesson and learned how to use the area model to multiply a digit number by a whole number with up to 4 digits. We have also learned كمان تعلمنا how to explain the distributive property of multiplication و how to apply it ازاي نطبقها to solve the multiplication problems. To check your understanding and practice more, you can check your understanding by scanning the code shown here or on page 265 in your school books. Now you can discuss with your friends the different strategies to solve strategies المختلفة to solve the multiplication problems. The strategy you prefer. أي strategy أنت بتفضل تحل بيها. And the reason why do you prefer it. وليه بتفضل إن أنت تحل بالاستراتيجي دي بالذات. If you have any questions on using the different strategies to solve the multiplication problems, you can send them to us on our page مدرستنا. Thank you so much for your watching and see you soon.